I appreciate all you guys. I know last month I really failed to put out work. Again, I've been having editing issues. The softwares I'm using, these companies are now beginning to actively micromanage you while you're making your work, and they start to cut it down. They start to bring it out, stuff like that. But I really gotta say thank you for all the guys supporting me, the channel sponsors. You know, you're paying that $4 a month. You're really giving me a reason to keep going. I don't do this just for money, but of course, you know, in this world, in Babylon, we all gotta go out and make as much money as we can just to have the basic necessities of life. So I wanted to drop something about my next video that is in the works. It's about God's economy and how the world's economy says that your value is what you produce, and God's economy says that your value is not determined by what you produce. You know, God's economy is more communistic. It says, hey, you're worthy of me feeding you and the land I've given you because you exist and you're my child, right? And this beast economy we live on says the exact opposite. The whole system of the world we live in is about getting gain for yourself, regardless at whose price or what cost it comes at. And that's what we're going to break down in the next video. So again, thank you to all the people who supported my channel. Or you are a channel member, I appreciate you so much, because you know what I mean? Like, you're making this a tangible thing to go from, you know, regular guy working on the streets to, you know, philosophizing, researching, decoding, art, anthropology, archaeology, all that stuff becomes available when people support your channel and you got, you know, support from people beyond you. So now we're going to dig into God's real economy. And this is the real important thing, because we're going to expose a whole lot in this next video to come out. A whole lot. We're going to expose a whole lot. Okay? And it's going to be real interesting because I've actually done some deep research into this, and with scriptures, and even like what's going on with Mao Zedong and Stalin and Lenin. And there's some things I can't even say because this all links back to Jewish people. So you'll notice when this video comes out, it's going to be a little bit censored. I can't say the word Jewish. I have to use euphemisms like the small hat people. They won't let the video stay up. Basically, we go into how all these communist dictators were set up by capitalist Jews from America and other places. And then you'll see, hey, Trotsky, Lenin, all these communist dictators changed their name when they're really Jewish. The president of Mexico is Jewish. The president of El Salvador is Jewish. So when we start to get into this, I know like I can't in my video, because I already know from releasing videos and, you know, stuff like that, we can't use the word Jewish because that's who runs YouTube. You know, if you look at the head of BlackRock and Vanguard, they're at the top. They own all the little corporations that we hear of that control our lives. They're Jewish. So really, it's time to expose the fact between how they're operating and how God's economy operates, and how they're claiming to be the Jews, but they're not living God's economy in their lived lives. They're living the economy of the beast, which is about getting gain. So a lot of people have wondered, what is the abomination of desolation? Hi, welcome to my live. I've seen that a lot. I've seen questions on my channels, and I'm trying to tell y'all, if you read Jesus where he quotes Matthew, he says, when you see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place, let them who have knowledge understand. And then he tells the Jews to flee Judea, which is not Jerusalem, it's the territory of Judah, and flee into the wilderness. And I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what it is. The abomination of desolation is capitalism. All right, and here's how it works. One part is the abomination, and the next part is the desolation. Now, first we're going to cover desolation. The desolation is the way that capitalism makes you chase money and place material things over your brother. It leaves your soul desolate. It makes the poorest rich people on the planet. You have a house full of things you don't need, but you know you're not spiritually satisfied. That's why you go to church and you think by giving money to your pastor you can fix all that, but it won't. And the desolation, the abomination is this. This society allows one man to have 3 mansions he never visits, and then another man will freeze to death on the curb. That is the desolation. You know, that's why I said God's a communist, bro. That's why when you read the scriptures, it's talking about everyone having everything in common, and nobody. Thank you for agreeing, and nobody needing having want or anything like that. That's why the U.S. government has trained you, and trust me, you think I'm dropping gems now? Wait till you see the video I'm putting out. The U.S. government has systematically trained you and the rest of the world to believe that God's plan is evil, and they have set up dictators. They have set up dictators, right? And they have installed them in power, and they said this is communism, a ruthless, godless dictatorship. And then they said you don't want that, you want our model, capitalism. But we all see capitalism is also ran by ruthless dictators. Can we be real? Like, come on, man. America persecuted the Indians. America is persecuting so-called Mexicans. Well, I say so-called Mexicans because we all know that the real Mexicans are black people. All the indigenous people of America were black people. And if you want to confirm this, type in Bonaparte Murals, Chiapas, Mexico, because I see people clicked off when I said that. That's good, bro. That means you can't handle the truth. That means this is not for you, right? And this is why a lot of the communist movements in America are black. And you don't think so because you think, hey, communism is when a dictator steals all the money and claims he's going to share it with everybody, but then people end up starving to death. That is not communism. That's called selfishness. That's called, hey, we're going to trick you into thinking we care about you, and we're going to get you to give up all your monies and all your resources, and then I'm going to hoard it, and if you have a problem with it, you'll end up in a gulag. And let me tell you this. Even Hitler himself and a lot of his proponents and a lot of these people have said we learned everything we learned from the Americas and what they did to the Negro. That look it up. You know, what happened first? Did all this bad shit happen in Europe first, or did America get colonized first, and then America used its influence to spread all these things everywhere else? And that's what Revelation means when it says, "Hey, all the nations of the earth have committed fornication with the whore of Babylon," which is America, right? And they have economically, they've adopted her financial principles. They've adopted her way of putting things and profits and margins above the lives of regular people. They've adopted that over the just like I covered this in my video, the BP oil spill. Did y'all know that the Deepwater Horizon event that caused the Gulf of Mexico to be poisoned for generations and still poisoned? I'm live. And still poisoned. That was caused by greed. So there was a concrete mud seal on the well, and you know when they had said the corporation was drilling in the ocean, they were under budget.
What's good, Larry?
What's good,
I'm wavy.
Larry?
Yeah, when JD was talking on the phone and shit about me with Moody, he's talking about me and shit.
Oh. Let me just get out of here real quick. These guys want to talk to me. Okay, so when BP did that and poisoned the Gulf for like a couple of generations, it was all a money thing. They stopped pouring the heavy concrete mud sludge down, which was keeping the pressure on the well sealed, and they poured water. And they said, hey, we got to save, but we're over budget and we're behind schedule. And the engineers had told like the pencil pusher guys, the heads of the corporation said, hey, this is going to blow up if we do that. And they did it anyway. So not only did they not save money, they lost money. But you see, they chose profits over physics, even though it would cost them in the end. But this is what we're going through on this world. See, people can't see this. Everything is for money. Of course, so look. Why are all the taxes going up? Money. Okay, politicians, right? They know that this is going to cause hate and division and suffering. They don't care. They know it could ultimately taxes, if you infinitely higher taxes, and you're going to cause a revolution. They know that. They don't care. They're throwing everything at the wall. It's like, fuck it. We come to the point where the society has become so corrupt that the bottom has fallen out. And I said the bottom, but like this bottom was only for Europeans. They never had this bottom that stopped them from doing immoral, unjust things to us. It's falling out for them. And now they're going to become victims of their own ways. And that's what the Bible is really talking about. Like, as you have done, so shall it be done to you, by you. Why do you think you go into schools, all these mass shootings is white people shooting white people to death? In the churches, white people shooting white people to death. That shooting in New York that was a black guy, it turns out they were talking about the NFL. It wasn't even about the NFL. He didn't even go. He went up and shot the BlackRock CEO, a major corporation CEO, I believe BlackRock or Blackwater or something like that, was shot dead. No NFL people were shot dead. That wasn't about the NFL, that shooting in New York. It's a secret war going on where it's the rich versus the poor. And there are factions to each side of this. That's why you see healthcare executives getting shot dead. You're seeing like weird, freaky storms kill CEOs. The DoorDash CEO died on a lake. If y'all see the video, lake's completely calm. He's on his private yacht. Freaky storm comes out of nowhere, kills him. Because one, even though God doesn't justify the killing of the rich by the poor, no killing is justified. Some things will be suffered by God, so He'll allow that, and that's what you see happening. All right, and this is because the rich have decided we don't want to labor hard. We want to get jobs that are easy. We want to live off of your tax money. We want to find reasons to take money from you. That's why your homeowners association, your the universities charge too much for intuition, and then when you get out, you can't even get a job. You can't even find a job in your field because they have these useless courses for nothing that people don't hire for. And now it turns out like, hey, most corporations are saying you don't even need a college degree, just come work for us. But they're still selling you that junk. It's because the rich have found these, I'll call them secret combinations, to live for free when we were all commanded to work by the sweat of our own brow as people. And this is why the world has to come to an end, and all this stuff has to be brought up to the surface. And people gotta know that God's economy is a communist economy. And if you're not ready to live because you want 10 houses and you don't care if someone sleeps on the street, y'all gonna have to go back to your lands and do that, right? The lands that God gave to your ancestors, because these lands are the lands He gave to our ancestors. And when you got here, you know damn well all the Native Americans lived in communes, and none of them even knew what land ownership was. None of them, and nobody was homeless though. You see what I'm saying? That's an American thing. Being homeless and being fucked up, that's all an invention by America. If the motherfuckers here didn't buy and sell the land, no one could be homeless, because if you live somewhere, people just left you alone. You went into the woods, you cut down the forest, you built your house out of those trees, that shit was yours. Now, go touch some unsettled land. See what happens to you. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Dude, you're writing in Spanish, bro. I don't speak Spanish. I can't even read Spanish. There's a translate function in there if you know how to use it. Let me see. I could probably translate it. What is this top fans things? I guess someone in here is my top fans. Yeah, but it's just one of those days, guys, where, you know, it's just one of those things where you're not going to see it until someone breaks it down fully for you. But, like, when you go over the scriptures, like I said, God's a communist, all right? America's anti-God, anti-communism, and they think that capitalism is godly. But capitalism allowed slavery. Slavery was because people wanted to capitalize off of other people's labor. We're all slaves now. If your labor, if you were given the full pay for your labor for anything you do, you would live more comfortably. Let's say you flip burgers at McDonald's. Let's say you touch 150 burgers and they gave you $1 out of every burger you touch. Or $2 out of every burger you touch. You know what I'm saying? Instead, one McDonald's is making millions of dollars flipping burgers. They know they don't pay a wage that anyone can live with. Like almost in any state, McDonald's is not a job where you can have and sustain your family. So you got to go get 2 jobs. You got to go work to death, right? And you know you can't honor the Sabbath because you know if you don't get your money, you ain't going to get paid and you ain't going to have no place to sleep, right? And this is why we got to abolish private property ownership, because motherfuckers want to own everything and say, hey, this is mine and not yours. And motherfuckers don't know how to make no land. And the people buying up everything can't even build a house. And the people building the houses can't afford the house that they build. Can't afford to build a house for themselves. Like, you get what I'm saying? And the rich people come and buy a house built by a poor man. You know what I'm saying? The rich people come buy a house built by a poor man, tell that poor man that you need to work harder. They don't even work at all. Rich people don't work at all. They just manage your labor. They are nothing more than the taskmasters of old. Like slavery in Egypt, the Israelites had taskmasters over them to make sure their job was done right. And I feel like if you can't sustain yourself off your own labor, then by natural law, which is how God set it up, then you should die. And I don't mean like someone should kill you. I mean that you should starve and die. Animals go through that shit all the time. If you can't sustain yourself off your own labor, there's no reason why you should be able to be in a position to steal other people's productivity and labor and steal their life force, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're stealing their life force. We only get a final amount of time on this earth in this probation we're in, and most of our time, if you calculate it, is spent serving other people and providing services to them that you'll never be able to afford. Never. Like motherfuckers out here in car factories putting together Teslas and all this other shit, and they'll never be able to afford a Tesla. Not that I want one, Tesla's a junk, but you know, you get the point. I'm saying this, hey, if you rich people want to enjoy all this stuff, then you produce it. Because all you do is own the means of production, and you got everything on lock so no one else can compete with you, because they're not even really capitalists. Like, let me tell you, they're not really, a capitalist would be like, hey, I'm going to outcompete you. They're not. They're like, hey, we're just going to set up the rules so you can't compete with us. Therefore, we know you're going to have to come to us. I got to make sure these niggas didn't leave me out here. And that's what's been going on for centuries in America. Not just America, this has been exported around the world. That's why, like, as soon as America was set up, all these nations started adopting these capitalist principles. Europe, all that stuff. Before, Europe was a shithole and people were drowning and dying, and it was a murder capital, right? And we know this because when they came here, they were looking at American settlements and cities with the utmost admiration. You know what I'm saying? So if that's going on, and your cities at that time were claimed to be filthy and dirty and all, so you came here, right? And y'all didn't even know what scurvy was for a long time. And this is why, like, Spain figured out the whole scurvy thing with the oranges, because they got to America, and that's why, like, oranges grow in Spain now. Before the Moors started trading with the Europeans here, there was no oranges in America. They didn't know how to garden and farm and all that shit. They were just eating meat. That's why all of them were dying of scurvy, but didn't even get on ships, because they were just eating meat. They didn't even know they needed vegetables. All right, guys. I'm probably gonna pick this live up sometime later today. I gotta go start work. Peace and love, fam. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button.